Tammy Duncan's crush on Larry Holman blossoms into something much more.
They seemed like they were really in love with one another.
She was constantly playing with Larry's hair, sitting on his lap, hugging on him, things of that nature.
Everything seemed great.
Until the search for big game becomes a game changer.
They thought that it might have been a hunting accident.
It was an obvious gunshot. How it occurred, we didn't know.
And a high-powered rifle blows their romance into oblivion.
It wasn't a murder for hire, it was a murder for love.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. Tammy Duncan is a typical small-town girl in a God-fearing community. But even though she's just 12 years old, as far as she's concerned, she's already found the one, Larry Holman.
She had went to church camp, and one of the teachers there, or one of her leaders, had asked them to write something down that they wanted to accomplish big in their life and to stick it in their shoe. So the note that she had written and put in her shoe was to say that one day she was going to marry Larry Holman.
I can tell you why. I would think she liked Larry. Larry was very charismatic. In fact, he was liked by everybody. He had a great sense of humor, loved to tease with people.
Hey, Pastor. Hope you're doing well.
Larry was just himself, and he made everybody comfortable. Anytime you go to a gathering, the #1 question always seemed to be is, when's Larry going to get here?
Both families belong to the same congregation, the Calvary Assembly of God Church.
We started attending that church in the mid-'70s, and Tammy's family was already going to that church at that time, so they actually met in church.
What a great day.
But he's also 25 years old and taken.
Everybody.
Larry was married and had a baby.
Introducing the lovely young lady to everybody. Yeah, everyone's been asking questions.
He didn't even pay any attention to her because he was a happily married man. He didn't even pay any attention to her.
Until 6 years later, when Larry, eager to get back in the game after a divorce, notices the little girl from church is all grown up.
My mom was obviously younger, so my dad probably enjoyed that. She was a nice woman, pretty.
As far as other connections, they went to church together, they worshiped together.
And Tammy's never lost her affection for Larry.
I'm glad we got to do this.
So am I. I've been dreaming about this for years.
She was just smitten by him. Anytime they were together, she was all over him. And, you know, we'd joke as a family sometimes. It's like, man, let the guy breathe. I think any male finds it invigorating when somebody's infatuated with them.
When Tammy and Larry start dating, her parents don't approve.
I think they thought that Larry was too old for Tammy, and we kind of thought maybe Tammy was too young for Larry.
They're in love, and there's just nothing you can do about it, but we don't agree with it either.
There was a confrontation with her mother and father out on the parking lot, and she accused me and my husband of encouraging the marriage. And we told her parents that we don't like it any more than what they did. We didn't especially like it, but what can you do? You know, he was a grown man, and he was really in love with her.
Tammy and Larry pay them no mind. And within a year, they take the plunge.
I think one of the reasons they got married as quickly as they did was Larry's religious beliefs. I think he thought the best thing that he could do and the right thing to do was to get married. Their wedding was pretty typical. It was held at the Calvary Assembly of God Church. Fortunately, I was asked to be in it and was proud to be so.
Well, they seemed very happy. I mean, they seemed like they were really in love with one another.
As a married man, Larry takes his responsibilities seriously.
Larry was a hard worker, and he worked many hours, and virtually every job that he had, it seemed like he would work 50, 60 hours a week.
For years, he worked for the Doe Run Company in Herculaneum.
Actually, it was the nation's largest lead smelter. We always refer to it as he worked out in the yard.
5 years later, they have 2 kids, and Tammy is thriving.
My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was very active with the schools. She went to all of our school functions. My mom pretty much did everything I needed her to. She would do my homework sometimes. She took me places all the time. Everything seemed great.
Forensic psychologist Dr. Brian Russell and psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser see a marriage filled with promise, but fraught with dangers.
One of the greatest challenges in Larry and Tammy's relationship is not the age difference, it is the age of Tammy. She hasn't dated very much. She had her sights set on Larry from a really young age. That has sort of been her Prince Charming. And I'm worried that she has him on a bit of a pedestal and that she isn't really learning about herself or who he is.
And in Larry's case, he's fairly recently divorced, and I have to wonder if he's given himself enough time to really figure out the reasons why his first marriage didn't work out so that he can make sure he doesn't repeat some of those same mistakes in his second marriage. If the relationship's gonna last, it has to be about compatibility. It's so important that both people going into the relationship be at a place where, even though they enjoy the superficial phase, they both sort of aspire to that, to get to that place with one another.
Popular and outgoing, the couple makes friends easily, especially with Irma Miller and her husband, Charlie.
We started going to Calvary Assembly of God when my son was about 2 years old, and went there for about 13 or 14 years.
Everybody was close. It was more like a family, I guess, than like strangers meeting for church once a week.
Charlie is a local contractor in Festus.
Charlie had a construction company since 1982. He started just doing odd jobs, and it went into having a business. He could walk out to a piece of property, look at it, and tell you what had to be done before he even started measuring it. So he was knowledgeable, and he was well-liked as a person.
Even if his work habits leave something to be desired.
He was sloppy. I mean, really sloppy. He'd be the type that he'd come to your house and walk right in your house with his boots and everything on. But other than that, he seemed to be a normal guy.
Now let's talk about Samson and Delilah.
Charlie, Larry, and Tammy run the children's ministry together, and they put on a good show.
You sure about that?
On Sunday mornings, we'd have regular church services, and they would do the children's church downstairs in the basement.
Samson had black hair, right, everybody? Yeah. And I will be Delilah. That's better. But
They were just in charge of putting together activities for the kids to do, like puppet shows, and they gave a Bible story of their own, took an offering of their own. So it was just like a younger version of the adult church going on.
Kids loved him.
Before long, Charlie and the couple are inseparable.
What's cooking? Good looking?
Generally, just because I was gone a lot working, they were the three musketeers.
Charlie was over at my house quite a bit.
I drank the last cup of coffee.
Oh, no worries. I'll have some juice.
I can make up another pot.
So she would fix breakfast or lunch. They did that on a regular basis.
My dad was a genuine friend to him. They'd hang out and talk about hunting and, just do guy stuff all day.
They were close.
So close that Charlie takes a special interest when Larry and Tammy hit hard times. 6 years into the marriage, the workers' union at Larry's company goes on strike.
They did have some strike benefits initially, but unfortunately they remained on strike for such an extended period of time, those benefits ran out.
With the young family strapped for cash, Charlie does what he can to help his struggling friends.
He did it again.
When he went by to have breakfast with them, he would take a carton of eggs and he would put money in the egg carton.
She did mention to me that Charlie was giving her money. Whenever she would clean her house, she would find money laying around.
I said, don't you find that odd, or why does he have to be so discreet about it, if that's the case? He's like, Charlie, he's a strange duck. I don't know why he does what he does, but I also do a lot of things for him, and so it's not like he's giving me total charity.
He just knew that he needed to help out his friend.
But soon, Charlie's definition of help will drive a wedge between Tammy and Larry.
What did I say about leaving mess?
They would meet whenever Larry would go to work.
Tammy got around.
By the mid-1990s, Tammy and Larry Holman have been married for 10 years. They've struggled with money and have had to accept financial help from their friend Charlie Miller. After a tough few years, Larry finds a new job at an aluminum foil factory.
You look gorgeous.
Come on, stop fooling around.
What? I love my man in uniform.
Things are looking up for the Holmans, but Tammy hasn't forgotten Charlie's generosity. She reciprocates their friend's goodwill by lending him a hand with his contracting business.
Okay. 2541. Perfect.
Initially, Charlie had this business and he needed somebody to answer the phone. So she offered, well, why don't you just forward the phone to me? I don't think there was a payment arrangement for that. I think it was, I'm home, I'm not doing anything. Just forward your phone over here and I'll take your messages.
Tammy's happy to stay occupied, especially since she's seeing less and less of her husband.
Larry worked a lot of overtime, hard work, so she wouldn't have to go to work and he could provide better for his family.
It was a very time-consuming job. It was mandatory overtime, so he was working 6-7 days a week for several years.
And when Larry's not working, he's out hunting.
My dad was very into hunting. Him and Uncle Randy would take trips all the time, and they'd be gone for about a week. It was probably his favorite thing to do.
Next year, buddy.
With kids, now 6 and 8, in school all day long, Tammy has more time on her hands.
Oh, your lunch, honey, you forgot. Hang on.
My mom would talk all the time on the phone.
Have a great day.
I felt like every time I'd come downstairs after playing up in my room or outside, she was on the phone with somebody. She was constantly talking.
Especially to her sister, Kim.
My mom and my aunt always seemed super close.
I want to check the gallery, too.
Tammy also reconnects with old friends, like Tim Smith.
Oh, my goodness. Hi. It's been forever.
Oh, I know.
He was related to somebody that Larry and Tammy went to church with.
He would come and attend church with his sister sometimes.
You look great.
Oh, you too?
Oh, thanks.
It seemed like he wasn't settled down in a job or a career or with people. He just kind of was a drifter.
She's also finding new friends in some unconventional ways.
I hope I'm not being too forward, but...
Tom Rubel said he met Tammy Holman because he was driving by her house and saw her sunbathing. He was a surveyor, so he drove around, surveying different pieces of property.
He was on a service call in the neighborhood, saw Tammy out in her yard in her bathing suit, and approached her, and they developed a relationship.
I'd really like to get to know you a bit better.
Tammy may be having fun, but the spark in her marriage seems to have dimmed.
We could see that changed over a period of time. The fire wasn't there like it was earlier. We wrote that off more or less as maturity in a relationship. They're not newlyweds by any means anymore.
Tammy's at a point in her life where her kids have gone off to school. Her husband's a workaholic, and so she's probably not getting many of her emotional or physical needs met by him.
The fact that she goes out and seeks relationships with guys suggests to me that she feels that this is a time that she can use to sort of go back and recapture some stuff that she might have missed by getting married so young. That's what you trade off when you get married that young. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. She wanted social interaction. She could have joined a tennis league or gone and done yoga with women and had lunches and things like that.
I think that this is a point in her life where, if she isn't in a good place, she becomes a target for an affair.
Whatever the reasons, Tammy's socializing is taking a toll on her family life.
What's up, young blood?
She came to fewer and fewer family functions.
Yeah, Tammy can't make it. It's just me.
If we would have like baby showers or the girls would get together, she always found an excuse not to come.
But this is from the both of us.
We had my daughter's 16th birthday, and Larry came and Tammy didn't.
Meanwhile, Larry's grueling work schedule is starting to wear him down.
Usually when he just got off like a long stretch of midnight shifts, he would get, you know, agitated.
What did I say about leaving mess, huh?
He never got physical or anything like that. He would just yell, vent, and then after he yelled, he's good to go. Get it out of his system.
I think I will put the kids in camp anyways. I mean, you know your brother.
Soon, he really has something to yell about. Charlie. Tammy is still taking messages for him, and he says thank you in questionable ways.
You should.
Charlie was hanging over there a lot, and one evening I was over there. We were sitting in the living room, and he knocked on the door. And she was smiling real big about it, but she never really commented about it, neither did we. We just thought it was kind of strange, but we kept our opinions to ourselves. He said, well, I wanted to give her flowers because she answers my calls for me. It's just to let her know that I appreciate her doing that for me.
When Larry realizes what's going on, he's not happy.
Is Tammy home?
No, Charlie.
He told him he wanted him to stop hanging around so much when he wasn't at home.
And if I ever want Tammy to have flowers, I'll get them myself.
Hey, it's just thought she'd like them. She's been helping me out a lot, you know.
Please, take the flowers and go.
I kind of think he was getting suspicious. He did ask my brother, if you thought my wife was having an affair, would you tell me? And my brother looked at him and said, I don't know what I would do.
Thanks for watching the kids, hon. I'm just going to the store.
Okay, bye.
And Larry's concerns deepen when he discovers further evidence of Charlie's infatuation with Tammy.
What are these?
Oh my gosh. No, they're nothing. I was going to tell you, but you've been so busy.
We had this situation where these letters came out.
Seriously? Charlie?
Charlie had been writing Tammy
You
letters.
gotta believe me, there's nothing there. It's Charlie.
Despite her assurances, Larry wants advice. He turns to his pastor.
He's overreacting, Father, and nothing's happening.
The pastor asks to meet with Charlie and his wife, Irma.
We were brought into the office and talked to by the pastor.
These mean nothing, okay?
He wanted to have assurances that there had been no affair, that it was kind of innocent.
I promise, there's nothing going on. This doesn't mean anything. I was kidding.
Maybe an infatuation. So that was kind of embarrassing.
The couples managed to remain friends.
I'll put the letters behind me.
We didn't leave our church, but we didn't do children's church together anymore.
And if Larry's still concerned, he keeps it to himself.
As far as what Charlie's intentions were, Larry would respond to me, so maybe Charlie doesn't have good intentions, but I trust my wife.
But soon, Larry will learn the truth, and the results will be explosive.
He said, if I thought there was something going on, I would shoot Tammy and shoot the man she was having an affair with.
There's a guy just across the wood line. He's carrying a gun, and he doesn't have orange on.
Larry Holman is getting worried. Charlie, a friend from church, is infatuated with Larry's wife, Tammy. And it seems he's not the only one.
Tammy got around. She had a bit of a reputation of having many gentlemen friends around town and responding favorably when those suitors would approach her.
Tammy's spending more time with her longtime friend, Tim. And Larry doesn't know it, but she has grown especially close to her new friend, Tom.
What? Just for me? For me to call you?
By August 2000, their relationship has evolved into a full-blown affair.
Tom Rubel actually had supplied Tammy Holman with a cell phone so they could talk privately and it wouldn't show up on cell phone records with her and her husband.
He had really strong feelings for her.
They would meet and whenever Larry would go to work.
Larry has no idea, but he has another reason to be upset with his wife.
Really?
Tammy had called me one day and was upset because she said that Larry had gotten a loan.
How could you do this?
What?
That was the bank.
What'd I do?
That money, that was for the garage.
Larry always wanted a garage, and he wanted a big garage outside his house. And apparently, he had gone to get the money to pay for the garage, and the money wasn't there, that she had spent it.
Say something.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
You're sorry. That's all you have?
And she said, he's really upset with me. He's on his way to the bank now to have my name taken off of the account.
Taking off our account.
He had closed an account, joint accounts with both their names on it, and had reopened accounts with just his name on it.
Larry had been working hard for a lot of years and saved money to work on this dream construction project, only to find out that Tammy has blown all of the money. And so his knee-jerk reaction is to really take on sort of a parental role and say, well, I'm taking you off of our joint account, and act like he's her boss.
She has been misusing the couple's marital resources, and that is also a betrayal of the trust that's supposed to be the foundation of their relationship. And so Larry's in a real bind at this point because he doesn't want to see any more of his money go down the drain on things that he doesn't agree it should be spent on.
A furious Larry knows just how to blow off steam. It's almost deer season, and Larry is gearing up for the hunt.
A few weeks before the season, we would go up and put our stands up in the area that we were going to be hunting. Now, that would allow the wildlife to get used to that being there.
Usually, Larry and his brother do the scout together, but not this year.
I was very busy in the job that I had, and I wasn't able to go. I talked to him then a day or two before he goes up, and he says, well, Tammy's going to ride along with me. And I thought, well, that's great. I was glad that she was going.
The Holmans make it a fun family outing.
My dad had this deer stand that was pretty much cast iron pipes. I don't know if that's what it was, but that's what it looked like to me. My dad spent a few hours setting up that stand, and we left. The whole time, him and my mom talked. We took a few pit stops, but for the most part, it was just straight there and back.
2 weeks later, Larry heads back to the hunting spot, this time with Randy.
The way we always worked it is we hunted in two totally separate locations, probably over a half a mile from each other.
Good luck, bro.
I let him out at his stand, and then I drove the half mile back to the area that I hunted at, parked my vehicle, and walked into where I hunt. I radioed Larry. I'm like, I'm kind of getting tired of staying here, and he's like, well, come and get me.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. I'm on my way.
Roger that. I'm ready when you are, bro.
But on his way back to pick up Larry, Randy notices something strange.
We'd rarely see anybody on the land that we hunted. As I'm driving down this farm road to get to where Larry's hunting, cutting through the edge of this field, I noticed there's a man in camouflage walking across the field carrying a rifle. Now in Missouri, it's a law that during gun season, you have to wear fluorescent orange. It's a safety issue. This gentleman had no fluorescent orange, but he was walking across this field with this rifle. And so I went ahead and drove to where Larry was at, and he comes down to the truck, and I'm like, did you see that hunter? And he's like, no. And I said, there's a guy just across the wood line from where you're at. I said, he's carrying a gun, and he doesn't have orange on.
Larry didn't see the strange man, but he did hear something.
Larry had made the comment that he had heard a bullet whistle pretty close to him, but he wasn't overly concerned about it, and I wasn't either.
What a great weekend, huh?
With all the shooting going around us, it wasn't totally uncommon that you could hear a bullet from time to time whistle by.
Except for that gunshot that came pretty close. Are you sure you didn't see that guy I was telling you about? He wasn't dressed right. It must have been him.
We definitely talked about it, but we didn't dwell on it.
No wonder there's so many accidents.
Despite the incident, the brothers come home happy.
That happened to be one of our more successful weekends, and we brought home 5 deer. And they were nice deer. Every single one of them was very nice deer.
Still basking in this success, Larry decides to try his luck at bow hunting.
Where Larry worked was a place that owned hundreds of acres of land, and they would allow their employees to bow hunt on that land.
There's a place that people also hunt with rifles, but rifle season was ending and bow hunting was about to come up, and he was looking for sites to bow hunt.
But before he leaves, Charlie's wife, Irma, pays Larry a visit.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, what's up?
I don't want your wife to be my husband's friend.
And Larry's like, well, Irma, you know, they're just friends. We're all friends.
What would make you think that there's something going on between them? Don't you think I'd be the first to find out?
They were talking on the phone all the time. It seemed like he was making excuses to go over and see her. So I thought, wow, this friendship is getting too involved.
I've never been to Europe, Charlie.
I've never been.
Yeah, well, Larry doesn't like to travel much, so.
Larry claims he isn't worried, but if he were, there would be consequences, severe consequences.
He says, I love Charlie like a brother, but if I thought there was something going on, I would shoot Tammy and shoot the man she was having an affair with. I would go to prison and be glad of it. And I'm like, you don't really mean that. And he says, yeah, I do.
Needing a distraction from his marital troubles, Larry's keen to start scouting for his next hunt.
He would always be out there looking, trying to find deer and good places to hunt. He would hunt turkey, goat. He killed a ram once. Had that thing mounted. It was pretty creepy.
It's a beautiful afternoon, and Larry's scouting for the perfect spot to set up his stand.
He drove out there in this field and he parked far enough away so that he could just watch the field and see where the deer were traveling. And then right at dark, and he'd seen everything that he needed to see.
It will be the last thing Larry will ever see.
I was so shocked I couldn't even think.
She seemed like she just lost her whole world.
After 14 years, Larry and Tammy Holman's marriage is in shambles. Tammy seems to be hunting for a new husband, while Larry's just hunting. But this time, he's the one in the crosshairs.
A bullet comes through the back glass. They said the car then veered off the road just a few yards and came to a stop in a little bitty ditch. The soda hadn't been spilled.
But blood has. Half an hour later, police are called by a passerby who happens across Larry's car.
It was about dusk whenever we got the call. Once we arrived on scene, we found Larry Holman in his car. The engine was still running and his foot was on the brake. He was sitting in the driver's side seat, slumped at the wheel. He had a wound to his left side of his head, which appeared to be a gunshot wound.
Larry Holman is dead at the age of 44.
When we got home from church, that's when we found out.
Tell me it's not true.
My husband told me to sit down, and I said, what's wrong with you? And he said, I need for you to sit down. And I said, what's going on? And then he told me. He just said, your brother Randy just called a little while ago, and he said that your brother Larry was shot while deer hunting. I was so shocked I couldn't even think.
It was pretty devastating. I lost it. You know, got real teared up and just cried all night. It was awful.
Police sweep the area and collect evidence. There is no hint of foul play.
They thought that it might have been a hunting accident, that somebody might have been hunting across the river on the Illinois side, and a bullet came through there and got him.
Hunting accidents are fairly common. Every year, there are accidents, not all fatal, but there are accidents, and some are fatal as well.
There's no trace of the shooter.
There's no one else around, no evidence that they could find of anyone being around, so it's been unknown at that time.
Larry's funeral is held 4 days later.
Tammy stood at the front of the funeral home, and she stood up there and she greeted people and she just shook hands.
Thank you so much for coming. I don't know what I'll do without him.
She seemed like she just lost her whole world. She was crying, you know, almost hysterical. She seemed really shook up about it.
It was a sad, sad, heartbreaking time for our family.
In addition to her loss, Tammy has to deal with the financial realities of Larry's death. Luckily, they kept their life insurance payments up to date, and the broker offers to put a rush on the claim.
He called me. He said, offered his condolences, and he said, you know, Larry had a policy with me. He says, I know that'll probably be helpful to the family. I'm going to try to expedite it for you.
Within 2 weeks, Tammy receives a check for $120,000.
They agreed to give her the money because it was getting close to Christmas and she didn't have a job and she needed the money.
Since Larry was killed on the factory grounds, Larry's brother Randy helps Tammy look into a second insurance policy that Larry had through work. It could be worth much, much more.
She asked if I would look at it, and I looked at it, and I said, well, it's an insurance policy for $1 million. I'm not sure what it covers, but that's what it's for.
You know what? Let me look into this, and I can get back to you.
Thanks.
Randy is shocked by the value of the policy.
I'm like, I didn't know Larry had this. He certainly left you in good shape.
Tammy? Oh, Linda.
Friends and family help out any way they can. But community goodwill starts to run out when Tammy takes in a new roommate, her old friend Tim, just a few short weeks after the funeral.
At first, we just thought, well, maybe he's just a friend. And then we started noticing he was hanging out there more and more and more, and even spending the nights there.
My dad had a chair that he always sat in, this rocking chair, and he would be sitting in it, and I hated him for that. Like, I hated him.
Charlie Miller has a similar reaction to Tim's presence. And when he tries to confront Tammy, she dismisses him completely.
Tammy changed her cell phone, would not have any contact with Charlie.
She wanted nothing to do with him anymore. Basically just threw him away. And he was very unhappy.
But no one is more surprised by Tammy's new living arrangement than her lover, Tom.
Tom Rule discovers that Tim Smith is now with Tammy Holman, and he becomes upset.
She broke off contact with him, and he was devastated at that time.
I think Tammy's behavior in bringing another man into her children's home on the heels of their father's death is abusive of those children. She should have been focusing every waking minute of her time on trying to do damage control for those kids who are dealing with the tremendous trauma of the loss of their father.
I could absolutely see Tammy's rationalization in this scenario. She's known Tim forever. It's not like some fly-by-night guy she met. In her mind, it would even make sense. Like, we have a history, we've been friends for a really long time, and so it really doesn't play out as badly as it looks.
With Tim monopolizing Tammy's affections, Tom grows more desperate and fixated.
Tammy Holman indicated that Tom Rubel was harassing her, leaving her threatening notes on her vehicle, stalking her, basically, is a term I believe that was used.
What's this? Oh my gosh, he's not stopping.
Tammy has no choice but to file a restraining order against Tom.
So much had happened that nothing surprised us. Because we was just like, well, now who's going to show up the next time? And we was to that point that we was expecting anything.
By this time, police are starting to take note of Tammy's odd behavior.
The theory of it being a hunting accident pretty much diminished after we were starting to learn about the infidelities of Tammy.
Tim Smith was moving in with Tammy Holman 2 weeks after the death of her husband. So obviously that's unusual. or Charlie Miller, who's a close friend of the family as well. We had nothing else to go on, so everybody was being a potential suspect.
2 months after Larry dies, police get a lead.
The investigation was pretty much at a stalemate. We received a call one day from a Kim Duncan, who's the sister of Tammy Holman.
Hi, I have information on Charlie Miller.
Miss Duncan apparently had some suspicions about Charlie by the way he was acting, things he was saying.
Kim believes Charlie knows something about Larry's death.
Charles Miller was in contact with Kim Duncan.
I don't know what's going on. Okay, I really need to talk to Tammy. It's really strange. I mean, will you help me?
He was desperate to speak to Tammy once again, and I believe he saw Kim Duncan as the way to get to Tammy.
She knew that he was infatuated with Tammy, and so he would say things like, "Look what she made me do."
She kept talking to Charlie, and she was making attempts to try to glean information from him.
Can you help me talk to her?
Investigators take Kim's allegations seriously. If Charlie is trying to confess to something, they want it on record. Kim agrees to let them record her next phone call with Charlie.
Hello?
Everything would have been perfect, except when they keyed the phone number to Charlie in, they forgot to block the call. So when it come through on his phone, it wasn't Kim's phone number. And he was quick enough on the draw to suspect something and immediately hung up.
The sting doesn't go as planned. But then, police learn from Randy Holman that Charlie might be in possession of an incriminating piece of evidence.
We were driving up north, and Larry told me,
Can you believe the gun he bought for his daughter? She's not even 13 years old. I mean, who buys a gun like that for a kid?
I immediately went to the police and said, I know you still don't have a suspect or anything, but if it's a .243 rifle, here's who I think you need to be looking at.
At that time, we went to Charlie Miller's residence and retrieved his gun.
Charlie's .243 Browning hunting rifle is standard issue for deer hunters. But this model is of particular interest to the police.
The firearm was likely the same type of weapon used in the murder. Other weapons we had submitted were ruled out immediately. That's the one that the crime lab said is more than likely the one used in the shooting. It was close enough.
Close enough to bring Charlie in for questioning.
Detectives located him and they transferred him back to the sheriff's department.
And much to their surprise, Charlie says he's got something he needs to get off his chest.
So after I build a rapport with him, I advise him that I'm going to read him his rights, and he immediately ducks his head and says,
I did it. I shot Larry.
Without hesitation.
But there's more, and what Charlie Miller knows will change everything.
She needed to do something extreme.
Charlie Miller confesses to killing his longtime friend, Larry Holman. The news shocks police, but not as much as what he tells them next.
Look, it was all Tammy's idea. She organized everything.
He immediately indicates that it wasn't his idea and that Larry's wife, Tammy, is the one that instigated the whole thing.
All right, I've written it all down. Every turn, every stop sign, you can't miss it.
Okay.
Don't worry. I won't disappoint you. All right, let's go over it one more time.
She had been plotting to kill Larry for at least a year.
Tammy went with her husband Larry to Mexico, Missouri with the whole reason of documenting and mapping the location where he would be hunting with the intention of providing that information to Charlie.
Charlie followed them, located the approximate area where their deer stand was going to be, and was going to try to kill Larry at that time.
Charlie tells the police that he found his target, but got cold feet.
On this particular occasion, when he had followed them to Mexico, Missouri, he called her and told her, I couldn't do it.
Hello?
Didn't happen.
I mean it, Charlie. Just do it already.
She became very upset with him and hung up on him. And through his continuing to call her, she agreed to give him one last opportunity, and he better not mess it up.
The last day of hunting season is literally their last shot at carrying out their devious plan.
After the shooting, Charlie called Tammy. His comment was, set one less plate for dinner. That was his way of telling her that Larry was dead.
After Charlie's confession, Tammy is arrested at home, and both she and Charlie are charged with first-degree murder. But when Tammy stands trial, her defense portrays Charlie as an unstable family friend who'd been obsessed with her for years.
The defense basically took the position that Charlie was delusional, that he was reading into things that Tammy told him to convince himself that Tammy wanted him to kill her husband and to move in with her.
The prosecution agrees that Charlie was obsessed with Tammy, but they argue that Tammy took full advantage, and phone records prove she coordinated Larry's murder step by step.
The timing of the calls coincided with Charles' statements. The length of calls helped us indicate they were more than just hang-up calls. They were actual conversations. And those phone records actually ended up being a strong part of the case against Tammy Holman.
Her explicit directions show that she left nothing to chance.
Without directions from somebody, it would have been impossible to find Larry Holman in Mexico, Missouri.
One question remains. What was her motive?
But it wasn't a murder for hire, it was, a murder for love.
She probably did have her sights on a new man. My guess is it was probably Tim Smith.
Not again.
She also had 2 kids that she wanted to have full custody of. And she knew that if she divorced Larry, there was a good chance he would get at least joint custody, and she didn't want to share that.
Then there are the insurance policies, the $120,000 she collected, and another $1 million policy it turns out she was never entitled to.
It was a liability policy that the workers had taken out so that they could hunt on the LaRoche property. LaRoche required that the employees that were hunting on the property get an insurance policy to cover any liability against the company. There's not a doubt in my mind that Tammy thought that she was going to be paid $1 million. And when I first read the policy, I thought she was too.
Bye. I'll go put these in some water.
Hey, of course.
People like Tammy see others as disposable. And so Tammy probably saw Charlie as somebody whom she could manipulate and then afterwards throw under the bus if she had to.
She knew how he felt about her. He had been trying to court her, woo her, take her away from Larry. And she figured that if she promised him the world, he would do what she wanted, and he did. I think Charlie thought that he was going to get away with a murder and then walk away with the girl.
It's hard to really imagine how somebody who is busy being a wife and mom would really come by such manipulation skills. So I think it's much more likely that these facets of Tammy's personality, whereby she's able to identify the person or persons whom she's going to be able to be so successful at manipulating, those personality traits were probably in her early on in life.
Charlie was infatuated with Tammy, and he wanted nothing more than to be with her romantically. And Tammy promised him that he could move in once Larry was gone, and they could all be like a big happy family.
So Charlie does it and gets dumped. She wants nothing to do with him at that point. She got what she wanted out of him, and he just killed one of his best friends.
She didn't know how to get out of her marriage, and rather than just get a divorce, she felt like she needed to do something extreme.
Tammy Holman was using Charlie Miller, Tom Rubel, and Tim Smith not playing them against each other, but play in the field to see who she could get to do this, because she wanted to get the job done.
The defense rests, but before the jury renders a verdict, Tammy accepts a plea deal.
I made the offer, but the inspiration was from the family's concern for the young children.
It only takes one person to make this a hung jury. I said, well, at least we'll get something out of it. She'll get some time, and we won't have to worry about these two kids going back into that household.
In 2003, Tammy pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and gets 7 years. Charlie pleads guilty to second-degree murder and gets 25 years.
I was so grateful to the good Lord that she got found out.
She should have spent a lot more time behind bars because she is the sole reason that all of this came about. If she would have just filed for divorce and been an adult about it and took her kids and moved out, everything would be a lot better for everyone.
Randy Holman and his wife take custody of the kids. Larry's charismatic presence is still felt.
We still, to this day, we still talk about Larry all the time, and he's still a big part of our life, even though he isn't here.
I wouldn't be where I'm at today without him.
There's not a week goes by that he's not in a dream of mine, because we spent so much time together as kids. You get used to that. You never get over it, but you do get used to it. I miss him a lot.